we'll have some fun with the YouTube people who should be wrapping in right now. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show, Thursday, January 9th. We are presented by Yahoo Sports, the only place that you can become a baller. I am joined for the first time in a while now, since you weren't on Tuesday's show, Adam Scher, aka Shit My Money. Adam, what's up?
How's it going, man? Nice four gamer, I guess. But
Okay.
nice. I would say nice to be doing a strategy show, but I really didn't miss it. So not waking up at 9 to do a show wasn't that upsetting.
I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love this show, man. I wish the only bummer is that I wish that what we were saying could hold more weight by 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because I think the show is fantastic.
I like the show when it's over. And I don't mean that like the way it sounds.
Man.
No. I don't mean it like that. I mean it because it actually forces me to like get up and get going, and like when I have to wake up, I hate it. But like as I'm doing it, I enjoy it. And when it's over, I'm like, wow, cool. I got like I wasn't a bum and didn't sleep until noon today.
There you go. Whatever we could do to help out, I guess. Happy with it. Hit the like button as you come in the door. I've got last night's Wednesday shoot around, the $15 on DraftKings pulled up. Highest score on the slate. Don't be surprised to hear that the name is James Harden, but boy, oh boy, did Trae Young give it a shot. And that came late. I didn't even know if he was going to be in for the fourth quarter. Hawks made it a bit of a game. So 81 fantasy points for James Harden. He was 59.5% owned on DK. Trae Young, 80.25. He was 25% owned on DK. One thing I did want to point out, we were dangerously close to a monster from James Harden. His numbers for last night, 9 of 34 from the field. He was 4 for 20 from 3. He had 41 real points because he made 19 free throws. 9 of 34, and he scored 81 fantasy points. 100 wasn't just on the table. It probably should have happened just based on like normal shooting. Not even like if he had a good game shooting.
Right. Yeah, and he was at, I think, 54 in the first half.
Yeah. 81. He needed 19 more. That is not an outlandish number for him.
He's done it before.
Yeah, like if he hits 4 threes, right there is what? 14 more points on DK?
4 threes?
Yeah.
16.
Right? Is DK 3.5 or is FanDuel 3.5? Now I just can't remember.
DraftKings is 3.5.
Okay. It never matters to me. So, yeah, 14 more points. So right away,
yeah, I'm really good.
Him just shooting 40% from 3 gets him to 95. I think he could handle making like a layup or something instead. Right. It's just insanity. The dude's crazy. He's gone for 40 legit points in 3 out of his last 4. Gone for 80 plus in his last 2. Can you imagine? He's 100% owned if his price doesn't jump to 12.8, right? He was 10.9 the game before that.
Oh, yeah. It would have been one of I think the last time that Westbrook was out, he was like 80, 85% owned.
You know what his usage rate was per Fantasy Cruncher last night?
I'm going to guess like 58.
50.8. Insane. And then Trae Young, 11 of 30 from the field, 16 of 18 from the line, 42 fantasy points. Triple-double. You don't see a lot of games where Trae Young's getting 13 boards.
Yeah, that's not really normal.
No, a little bit of an outlier there. He's been good lately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 out of his last 11, 46 fantasy points or higher. A lot of 60-point games in there. Yeah, he's literally everything on that team. The rest of the high scorers, Brandon Ingram at 61.5, which looks like a downright pedestrian game next to 2 80s. Clint Capella, 58.5. Nikola Jokic, 55.5. I think somebody's starting to round into form. 20 and 25 shots in his last 2 games. That's the Jokic that they're looking for. 2 wins. Yeah. Now, granted, at Atlanta, at Dallas is obviously a big win, but at Atlanta, not exactly a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, no Millsap and no Barton, but still.
he needs to be that guy, that 30+% usage guy, being involved in all of it. And it's paying off. 80 real points over the last 2 games. Giannis had a perfectly normal Giannis game. I never thought it would become not fun to roster Giannis. Like, do you know?
I never thought that I
mean,
would
right?
stop. Yeah, I never thought that I would stop doing it because I always did it like he would always be, lowish owned, and I would just be like, well, if this stays close, he's going to break the slate, and then the game wouldn't stay close, and I'd be mad. And then finally, it's gotten to where I stopped projecting him quite as high, and so I don't really get there anymore. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just like we're at a point now where we can't just project him to a minutes level where it's if this game stays close. Like it's been however many games they've played so far, 35. They just don't generally stay close. The dude's going to play 30 to 32 minutes, most likely. Just sad. Sabonis with a big day was basically completely unowned. Do you know who the highest value play was of the night?
Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes, 38.5 fantasy points at 3,200. He was 12x. 3 other guys crossed the 10x threshold. 3 guys were at 9.9. It's a crazy day for value. Not a lot of them were very owned. Bobby Portis was obviously chalk. He hit 10.7x, so he became a bit of a necessity. Terrence Davis, one day after being told, at least maybe not being told, hold on, I gotta hit a spammer and get him out of here. Hide user on this channel. Adios. Great job. Nice try. Did you see the Nick Nurse quote from 2 days ago?
Yeah, that he probably played him 5 minutes too many.
Yes. So then in response, he starts and is, I believe, the highest scorer for the Raptors. I'm not entirely sure if Ibaka got there or not, but...
Did you see Kyle Lowry's postgame?
No, but I did want to punch Kyle Lowry in the face postgame.
Yeah, no, he mimicked Terrence Davis for his entire postgame presser.
I need to check
it was pretty good.
I had a ton of Kyle Lowry and didn't expect Terrence Davis to become the new Fred VanVleet, but here we are.
Yeah.
Kem Birch with a big one in his start, 32.75 fantasy points. Jeremy Grant, 22.7% owned by the public, went for 32.75 after Paul Millsap was deemed out at 650. One Adam Scher rostered 91.3%. Jeremy Grant, that worked out pretty well for you. Emmanuel Mudiay, Pat McCaw, Admiral Schofield, all 9.8x or higher. Schofield made it into 14 lineups, so that's congrats to those 14 people. 4.3% owned Pat McCaw, man. Even at 39, couldn't have got there, I don't think. I hate that dude.
Yeah, I don't know how many minutes I'd have to project him for him to start getting in the lineups.
Maybe the amount of minutes he played last night, which was 43.
That would probably do it, yeah.
Yeah. So still less than a point per minute. Well, 38.75 is what? Yeah, 0.9. Still a pedestrian outcome. He just happened to be out there for essentially the entire game. Kudos.
Yeah, all these randoms made my 8.1x from 17% passing sneaks kind of not useful.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Troy Brown, Ntilikina, Trae Young, Tyler Hero, Chris Dunn, Miles Bridges, Bryn Forbes, PJ Tucker, plus everybody else I've already named came in with higher value metrics than that. Trae Young hitting 8.3x with 80 is lethal. I wonder if he was in the winning lineup. Shout out to Phoenix 2019 100K winner. Trae Young, Troy Brown, PJ Tucker, Kem Birch, Clint Capella, James Harden, Jeremy Grant, Bobby Portis. Only guy in single digits in ownership there is Kem Birch, which is like the perfect way to have a pivot in that scenario, considering his role once starters were announced. For him to be 5% owned, like that is exactly what you're kind of looking for in a larger field contest. He still has chalk Harden, still has chalk Portis, still has chalk Clint Capella. I mean, Trae Young and Jeremy Grant both certainly owned. Sometimes it's really that simple. But obviously getting 161 fantasy points from Trae Young and James Harden is a decent base. Unbelievable. Anybody else interesting here at the top? Highest owned player of the 150 maxers. Let's see. Bobby Portis, 70.9% owned for everybody that played 150 last night. He was 54.5% owned for the entire contest. Harden got to 64%, so just a slight uptick there. 46% owned for the 150 maxers for Michael Porter Jr. Finished with 6.25 fantasy points. You played 35%. I played a decent amount of him on FanDuel as well. What do we think happened here? Played 14
I had no
minutes.
idea what to do with him once he didn't start. I kind of just obviously left him in. I got a lot less than I was getting had he been starting, but I personally cut him to 24 minutes when he didn't start. Yeah. I haven't actually gone back to see how much he played, but
14.
Yeah, that's surprising.
I couldn't have ever gotten to 14 once Paul Millsap gets ruled out.
Right. Did Hernan Gomez play?
That I don't know, but I can figure that out in a couple seconds if you're not already pulling it up.
I'm pulling it up now. Hernan Gomez played 12 minutes. Beasley played 26 minutes.
Okay. I gave Hernan Gomez minutes too. I mean, there was plenty of minutes to go around.
Yeah. That's weird, but yeah.
Once Paul Millsap came out, I didn't think that there was really any scenario where Michael Porter Jr. played less than 20.
Right.
I couldn't have gone lower.
Right. Me giving him 24 minutes, I was like, this could be a little bit high or a little bit low, and I felt okay. But I'm surprised he played as little as he did.
We'll say Umair says he was playing like crap. +2 in his 14 minutes. The entire bench mob was a positive. All 5 starters in the negative yesterday.
He did manage 0 points in the entire first half.
Yeah. I had 3 personal fouls as well. 2 points, 3 boards, a steal, 3 personal fouls. But either way. I mean, whether or not he was starting, I think you would agree here, he was still wildly playable yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. I think given that he wasn't starting, he was overowned. Yeah. But he was still obviously playable.
Absolutely. I don't really have much else to add here. Your Wizards finally laid an egg in a game where I was hoping they would keep it close, but 34-point drubbing from the Orlando Magic. Not helpful. This team is... They need
They were keeping it close for a while.
You've got to trade Bertans now, right?
I don't know. I mean, they should be looking to sell high on him, but at the same time, I think he's actually really good. So,
cash it in.
Well, I don't think he's a flash in the pan, just shooting.
No.
Really well. I think he's a really good player.
I agree. Justice Winslow got 16 minutes last night. Did you think he was going to play more or less? Just trying to hit on a couple.
I had him at 22, 24.
Okay. Not really happy he's back. I mean, happy he's back from I hope he's not hurt as a person, but does not help things for Miami. Kelly Olynyk being fully out of the rotation. I did not see that coming. He is just actually done now.
Yeah, I am happy about that one. That trying to guess him has cost me money for years.
Just get ready, because in 2 weeks when he plays 26 minutes fully off the bench randomly, because that's coming for sure. He will be back in this rotation.
Yeah, there will be more than 0 games the rest of the year where it's just where did Kelly Olynyk come from?
Yes, no doubt about it. Terrence Davis, 37 minutes last night. He was +20. That's the highest on the team. Went for 23, 11, and 5. A day after his coach told him that he played 5 minutes too many when he played 8. How does that happen? That's got to just be Nick Nurse lighting a fire, right?
You would think.
He couldn't have actually meant that and then played him for 37 minutes. Kyle Lowry played 43 minutes last night. Oh my God. If I projected him for 43, I would have had him in 100% of my lineups.
I think I had, what did I have, 46?
43 minutes, and he took 13 shots. The same amount of shots as OG Anunoby.
Yeah, that's not what you're looking for.
Nah, not so much. All right, guys, please hit the like button as we get started. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. We are presented to you by Yahoo Sports, the only place where you can become a baller. I am dropping the link into chat right now for Emacs Cash Building Blocks article. Highly recommend you check it out. This is yesterday's article. Get a feel for what Emac has to say. He's putting that out every day. But head to the bottom of the article, click the link, use the promo code AWESOMO. Get yourself $30 in YSRPs. That's Yahoo Sports Rewards points. Good as cash. You can play low management fee contests, lower than most of the industry. You can play no management fee contests from time to time. They have CSV edits now, so they make it a little bit easier for you to enter your lineups. You're going to find softer competition. I think it's just a really good place to play. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Also, if you want to sign up at awesemo.com, got a bit of a promo going. You can use the promo code 2020. Get yourself 20 days of Awesemo Plus Platinum for just $20. This expires tomorrow. If you're looking to get in, you need to do it now. Again, promo code 2020 gets you 20 days for $20. Or if you're diving right into the deep end, use the promo code NEWYEAR, one big word, NEWYEAR. You can get yourself 20% off your first year of Awesemo Plus Platinum. That's a $200 savings. We don't normally do discounts that large, but again, the promo code is NEWYEAR, and these deals will expire tomorrow. Last day is tomorrow. After tomorrow, we're probably going to something else, but it won't be as good of a deal as what we're giving out today and tomorrow. So go check it out. Again, 2020 or New Year, depending on how long you're looking to get signed up. 4Gamer. I spent my Monday office hours trying to tweak my short slate process. I think that I've been garbage on, let's say, 3, 4, 5 Sixers. So that was the theme of my office hours. That is behind the paywall each week. So if you're interested in seeing those, use that promo code 2020. Anyway, hoping today is the day that I can get a little bit better here. Sixers Celtics is a quality game. Oklahoma City Thunder Houston Rockets is a quality game. Pistons Cavs, a little bit different. Timberwolves Blazers, also a little bit different. I'm ready to dive in if you are.
Yeah, let's go.
Detroit Pistons, Cleveland Cavaliers. I got to double check that I'm right here because I saw two different lines when I woke up today. One of which was ridiculous. The rest of them were super normal. Okay, so it really is. At one point, one site was showing Cleveland as a 2-point favorite, and I was like, "There's no way," unless there was like a plane crash for the Pistons.
Yeah, Drummond's out, Rose is out.
Yeah, they're playing Isaiah Thomas and original Isaiah Thomas.
Which one do you think is better currently?
I would say that old Isaiah Thomas is probably better at basketball. New Isaiah Thomas is probably better as a front office guy because he's less likely to harass people in the workplace.
Yeah. As a defender, there's no doubt in my mind old Isaiah Thomas is better.
Has to be. Unless he had like an amputation that I'm not aware of recently.
Right.
Got into the sugars too much or something. So the Pistons are 7-point favorites here at home. Still without Blake Griffin, who's going to be out, I would imagine, for the rest of the season. Markieff Morris also out. Lots to like here, as far as I'm concerned. Let's start with Andre Drummond, 10-9 on FanDuel, 10-2 on DraftKings. His best price, $47 on Yahoo, I believe. Talk to me about Drummond or the rest of the Pistons and what is an absolute cupcake matchup.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of really strong options here, starting with Drummond. Good spot against Cleveland. You know he's playing big minutes in competitive games. Griffin out boosts Drummond's rates across the board. Obviously the salaries come up a bit, but pretty nice matchup too. A nice size advantage on Tristan Thompson. Like we know Thompson's a good rebounder, but just doesn't compare size-wise to Drummond. So looks like a really good spot for him. And then Derrick Rose, I think, also pretty appealing. We've seen him start the second half 2 games in a row, got up to 30.5 minutes last game against Cleveland. He's a 30+% usage guy without Blake on the floor. So him and Drummond both look like guys that I'll be building around.
Yeah, obviously I see no way to really get away from Drummond. But I have 7 guys from the Pistons ranked on DraftKings right now, all either in like a lot of them in the 20s range. So seems like I'm going to get a lot of filler here, whether that's Svi. I still think Christian Wood is viable, although his minutes have been super weird. Sekou now firmly entrenched as a 30-minute-a-game guy. We've got Derrick Rose at 35% ownership on DK and Svi at 32%. Do either of those numbers stand out to you in like any sort of way?
Svi at 32 seems like a terrible idea.
I would agree. He's gonna just not that kind of player.
Right.
And it's not like he's 3,400 or something,
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like it's a 4-game slate, so I get that, maybe you're just kind of running out of value. So he's getting into more lineups than it feels like he should. But you're talking about someone who is like a 0.6 to 0.65 fantasy point per minute guy, probably plays 32, 34 minutes. It's a decent point per dollar projection. He just doesn't have that type of volatility. Like there may be, if you played this game, 1,000 times, how many of those times is Derrick Rose and Andre Drummond being like, Svi, like run the offense, take over here. It's just not really something that's going to happen. So you're basically just playing. You're playing a popular player that needs to shoot well, better than average, for him to be someone that you actually need. I would just rather find other more volatile options that are lower owned.
I would agree. 34% Drummond on FanDuel. I have him as my 4th center, and I just need to know how that's happening. But now that I look at it, I am not terribly surprised, just given the price tags on the other 3 guys that I'm looking at. And then we move to Cleveland, where a group of thugs is going to be playing against the Pistons. John Beeline.
What a ridiculous story.
Unbelievable. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that is not a quote from me. That is a quote from their coach.
Josh Engelman removed from air mid-show.
Yeah. So if you want to check out that, go to ESPN. You'll find it immediately. Both of these teams terrible defensively. The only real difference is that Cleveland is also terrible offensively. 106.5 implied total, second lowest on the slate right now. We'll start with Kevin Love, 7,200 on FanDuel, 7,700 on DraftKings. He stopped whining, played like 34 minutes in the last game. He's projected for 42% ownership on FanDuel and 29% on DK. I think he's pretty clearly the best option from the Cavs if he's going to be playing. I gave him 34 minutes, and at that point, I'm going to have quite a bit of Kevin Love.
Yeah, I'm with you. The minutes have been the biggest issue all season long, and he's finally playing more minutes. It's not like it's a bad matchup going against Detroit, so I think Love is a good play also.
7,200 on FanDuel, just way too cheap. He is my number 1 power forward as of right now. Not exactly a lot of fun stuff going on at that position either. Then we've got the rest of the Cavs. Colin Sexton is projected for 23% ownership on DK. That is the second highest mark from Cleveland. Cedi Osman is at 21% on FanDuel. That is the second highest mark from Cleveland on FanDuel. I don't mind getting to Cedi or Garland or Thompson. I'm not wildly enamored with any of these guys. Cedi is my number 5 small forward, so him being 20% owned is interesting. I like Darius Garland on DK more than I like Colin Sexton. Am I crazy there? He has less ownership.
I think they're pretty comparable when you factor in the price, but they both should play, 34, 35 minutes. Sexton, I think, so, obviously a little bit better producer, but he's more expensive. So pretty comparable to me. If you're getting more ownership going to Sexton, I would probably get more Garland.
Okay. Anybody else you're looking for from Cleveland? Anything that stands out to you?
I wouldn't say stands out. I think that Cleveland's just interesting as a team because right now they're shorthanded since they traded Clarkson. They don't have Porter, they don't have Exum, and they don't have Nance. So minutes, you're actually getting a lot of minutes for guys like Garland, Sexton, Chetty. It makes it so against a bad Detroit defense, there's at least some upside for these guys at their salaries. They're still not very good, but like if you're talking about a 40, for example, from the other side of this game. If you're talking about a $4,200 fee or a $4,800 Garland or a $4,700 Chetty at lower ownership, potentially, I would rather go to the Cleveland guys.
$3,700 Brandon Knight. Does that do anything for you on FanDuel?
I think it's a decent FanDuel price. DraftKings go up real quick. He's up to $4,600 now. Played 24 minutes last game, which is about what we were expecting. Got about a point per minute. I think he, can give you that kind of production again. It's just that at 4,600, you're 4,600 on DraftKings, you're asking for a lot. 3,700 on FanDuel. It's not like it's a value that I'm in love with, but I wouldn't be upset if I get him in some lineups.
Okay. I don't have much else from this one. Who is your favorite play from this entire game?
Drummond.
Okay. Didn't know if it would be Love, so figured I'd ask. To an excellent basketball game. Not so much so from a... Well, I guess it's probably going to be a good DFS game as well, given the rosters right now. However, a bit of a slog from more of a defensive game than an offensive game. The Philadelphia 76ers are 2-point favorites at home against the Celtics. The Sixers will be without Joel Embiid, who dislocated, broke his finger, whatever. It was gross. It doesn't matter. His finger's pointing the wrong way. That's all that matters. So let's start on the Philly side, where Al Horford currently projected for 50% ownership on FanDuel, 35 on DK. Tobias Harris is at 53% ownership on FanDuel, 26 on DK. Josh Richardson is 30 and 40 across both sites. Ben Simmons is 40 and 20 across FanDuel and DK. I'm just throwing it to you since I think that those are the four guys we're actually going to be talking about. Who stands out most?
I think that Harris and Horford look the most appealing. Horford, it'll be interesting to see the starting lineup. We've seen when Embiid's out, Philadelphia at times use Korkmaz, at times use Mike Scott, and then I think the last time Embiid was out, they went Kyle O'Quinn. If they go O'Quinn, it's a little less appealing for Horford since he would be starting next to O'Quinn, but I still think that you would see a benefit just because you don't have Embiid's usage out there. Overall this season, Horford's averaged 1.14 DraftKings points per minute without Embiid on the floor. Tobias Harris is at 1.19 with a 26.2% usage percentage. So I think those two, stand out the most. Ben Simmons gets a little bit of a bump. Josh Richardson looks a little bit better with a 23.5% usage rate, but it's Harris and Horford that look the best to me.
Okay. I really like Josh Richardson for 5,900 on FanDuel. To me, he looks like the best shooting guard option. Just construction of the position, and he is the lowest owned Sixer on FanDuel as well. So if Harris is already at 50% and Horford is already at 50%, I'll be comfortable going to Jay Rich. But I see no scenario where I don't have a lot of all four of these guys in some sort of combination. Is there anybody you don't want?
No.
Okay. Is anybody from the non-Big Four here going to be highly owned for you? We don't have anybody projected north of 4% ownership for everyone else.
I think it depends who's starting. Like if O'Quinn's up to 4,900 on DraftKings, which is tough, but he is a good per minute producer if he starts. Mike Scott's 4,000 if he starts. It's an okay value, but I don't really have a feel of who that's going to be because we've seen it change throughout the season.
Thybulle actually could potentially be back here as well.
Yeah, actually, he's expected to play.
Yeah, so not that I think that matters from a fantasy perspective. It's just another guy that's going to be playing minutes, so limits the amount of time like James Ennis might be able to get out there or something along those lines. Okay, rank the Sixers before we keep moving.
Harris, Horford, Simmons, Richardson.
Bingo. Then we move to the Boston side. Kemba Walker didn't have to worry about a minutes limit last night. Just got the gate instead. 7,100 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DK. He's roughly 20% owned, 15 on FanDuel, 27 on DK. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, all picking up 20-ish% ownership on FanDuel. A little bit less so for Hayward on DK, where he's 6,600. I really like getting to some Celtics here. I think they're going a little underowned. I don't mind getting to Daniel Tice, 4,300 on FanDuel, 4K on DK, especially with Joel Embiid out. I think Gordon Hayward looks the best on FanDuel at 6K. I'm not as enamored on DraftKings. I can't get away from $6,500 Kemba Walker on DK. I 27% owned even seems low to me. Unless we find out that he's not playing a full allotment of minutes.
Right. Assuming he's at full strength or close to it. The salaries are really good. Obviously it's a tough matchup against Philly, but Embiid being out does make the defense a bit worse overall. If you look at the starters with and without Embiid on the floor, the defensive rating goes from about 100.5 to about 104.5 with Embiid off. So, still not a terrible defense, but not as good as normal. And then you're getting, depressed pricing on Boston too. So I think that it makes them pretty reasonable options. I think that, kind of all things considered, they're a little underpriced. Kemba at 6,500, I agree. Tatum's salary came down about $1,000. So did Jaylen Brown's. Hayward's dropped a bit as well. So I think that none of them stand out, like Andre Drummond did to me or like Derrick Rose did to me. But I think that there's still value here because they're $1,000 less than normal.
Yeah, at six, what would you have assumed happened to Kemba Walker if I told you a year ago today that he'd be 6,500 on DraftKings and he'd be on the Celtics?
What was your question?
What would you have assumed happened to get Kemba Walker to be 6,500?
He was splitting minutes at point with Marcus Smart or something. Yeah.
I will take my chances at $6,500 Kemba Walker all day. That's right now. I have his target score for DK at 45 fantasy points. 40. I understand that these are two separate teams, fully different role in the offense. 45 was like the expectation for Kemba in Charlotte. It was just like, okay, that's just the normal Kemba game.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And now that's just like, oh, he's going to get there a quarter of the time and blow the salary out of the water. So I love Kemba on DK. Not that I have a problem with him for 7,100 on FanDuel, but I'm in for rotating through these guys. Do you try to set any groups for the Celtics?
Normally I'll do max 2 on Tatum, Brown, Hayward, Smart, depending obviously on the context of the slate and everything, but they're just kind of like interchangeable pieces for me. So unless they're in a really good matchup, I kind of assume that more than 2 of them aren't going off together.
Yeah. They're not at Atlanta or something like that.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then obviously I don't play Cantor and Tice together.
Right. Anybody else you want to touch on here?
You mentioned Tice. I think he's fine. You're never excited about 23 or 24 minutes from him, but Embiid not being in does make it a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, I gave him 22 minutes at 4K. That seems like, there's not a ton of legit value out there right now. So I think
which is why we see 30% ownership on speed.
Exactly. Favorite play in this entire game for you?
It's between Kemba, Harris, and Horford. Probably Kemba.
Okay. That works for me. By the way, Josh Richardson is $19 on Yahoo. Ben Simmons, $41. I like both of those prices a lot.
Agreed.
2 games down already. We need to get into a conversation about condiments on your eggs to waste 10 more minutes. What happens when Laffy's around? Got to know what's what. Laffy just wants to eat bad food, man. Bro,
he was pro ketchup or
he's pro ketchup on eggs.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a strong take on it. I have put ketchup on eggs. I don't think it's gross. I think it's good. I just don't normally do it.
I think our colleague Fast Eddie Fear had the best take for ketchup. Whatever you put ketchup on immediately tastes like ketchup. That's just ketchup is the dominant flavor whenever it is involved. And
yeah, but I like ketchup. So
sure. once you're just like creating some like semi-soft base for your ketchup to be put into your mouth, which is just not for me. That's the problem here. Chalone 3Ls in YouTube chat nails it, and a couple people have said this before. William Cook too. Hot sauce only. Agreed. Hot sauce is the egg condiment.
Yeah. I agree with that one.
I mean, that's just, now we can get into like different kind of eggs or like hollandaise, also fantastic, but it's not ketchup, guys. It's not ketchup. Moral of this story: never listen to Laffy for anything at all.
And put hot sauce on everything.
Yes. Whether that's culinary advice, DFS advice, all of it. Just don't listen to Laffy. So I'm so comfortable with those takes because there's absolutely no way he ever hears it unless Brett clips it out and puts it on Twitter.
Yeah.
So Brett, moral of the story is don't clip this out and put it on Twitter so Laffy can't figure
Anytime
out.
Anytime you can publicly talk behind someone's back and know that it's the same as being in like a DM, it's great.
It is. It's perfect. Perfect. It's like cream cheese on a bagel. The bagel is merely the transport device to eat cream cheese. That I disagree with. That makes me feel like
I thought that was your take. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
That is from Steven Leibowitz. I don't agree with that because you've obviously never had a good bagel then. Yeah. The bagel is the star of a good bagel.
Lox is the star.
Also true. Are we talking about the rap group?
What?
No? The Lox? No?
No.
Not at all. You're talking about some shaved salmon?
Yes.
I'm talking about little Styles P, some Jadakiss.
I was not.
No? Either way. Somebody out there is going to be like, yes, it's the Lox is a rap group and not thinly sliced salmon. Guys,
I know who they both are individually.
Okay, that's fair enough. You would know the Lox as a group as well, if that helps you at all. Money, Power, Respect. No, nothing.
Probably if I heard it.
Money, Power, Respect was like a top hip hop hit at one point.
I was probably like 2.
No, it was, let me get 98. How old were you?
Okay, I was 8.
You were 8?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Then you probably don't know who this is. Sometimes I forget that there are a couple years between us.
Yeah.
Because I was 13 at that time.
Yeah. So I was gonna say you were probably at the age where like I was listening to rap constantly.
Yeah.
But I was at the age where like I didn't even really know it existed yet, except for like Eminem.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. That is like the perfect range there, where you are 8. The chances of you listening to, like a Jadakiss track is going to be pretty low. Whereas at 13, that becomes like the coolest thing in the world to a 7th grader.
Right.
Anyway, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Tilt Chamberlain in Premium Slack. He knew Mike Jones' phone number by heart. I was shocked. That is absolutely true. Gotta know it.
I'm actually mad that I don't.
881-330-8004.
Yeah, I had like I knew the beat to say it, and I just couldn't think of the numbers.
That is true. Like it's really easy to know. Like you could probably hum that to yourself to the tune, but maybe not know the numbers right off the top of your head. Yeah. Cantor 33 dropping it in there too. Let's get back to it. Free content today. If you're interested, the deep dive, which I 2 minutes ago just talked about how you shouldn't listen to Laffy. Laffy will be writing. Laffy's on the deep dive today, right? Yeah, not you.
I'm not, so I hope so.
Should be Laffy, as far as I know. On the deep dive, that is the free content for today for the NBA. Written article, a deep dive, you might say, of the NBA slate. We also have the NHL lineup builder as free content. Coming up later today, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Jake Hari will be putting out his NHL strategy show. Alex will once again be behind the paywall, doing his game plan stream. Adam will be back with Laffy at 4 p.m. for the deeper dive. And then live before lock tonight, far as I can tell, Fast Eddie Fear and Chris Spags taking you all the way up until 7. Don't hold me to that one. 2 games to go. I don't really know how we talk about this one yet. The Portland Trailblazers are 2.5-point favorites in Minnesota. 113.5 implied total for the Blazers is tied for tops with the Detroit Pistons. Karl Anthony Towns going to play today?
I mean, my answer is just no until it happens.
I put him in today. I feel like it's finally happening.
I have the same feeling just from like seeing the beat writers kind of instead of saying he's questionable and then kind of being like, yeah, I mean, he's not really questionable. It seems like they're treating it more like he's actually questionable.
Right. Either way, look, if he's out, you know what to do.
The nice thing is if he's in, I don't. If he's in, it's more right. It takes away from other guys more than it's like, oh, now I have to get Towns in my lineups or something.
With him in, it's Andrew Wiggins for me. He's at 22% ownership on FanDuel right now, 19 on DK. That seems about right. I think Robert Covington for 6K on FanDuel is reasonable given his role. And I don't know, is that it? If Jeff Teague's going to get 28 minutes at 5,200, I think that's viable on DK. But if Towns is in, I think that Minnesota becomes wildly uninteresting.
Yeah, I agree. And even going back to the Towns point, it's still tough for me because even in that last game, he played 28.5 minutes. Napier only played 24.5. So we're still seeing them play, like 4 minutes next to each other.
Yeah.
And we've seen how that goes. Like some games it's 30 for Napier, 18 for Teague. Other games it's 28 for Teague, 24 for Napier. So definitely setting a rule not to have them together. I think that either of them are in play at 5,200, but it's not like you're going to be really confident about it.
Do you have any interest in Gorgeous Dong on FanDuel at 5,600 if Towns is out?
If he's out, yeah, I mean, the minutes have been down, which obviously isn't great. I don't think I'd be getting a lot of him because it means you're giving up, Drummond or Adams or Capella or somebody, but it's okay.
I see nothing for this team if Karl Anthony Towns is in. Like 10-6 on FanDuel is fine.
I assume he's on a minutes limit too, though.
Right. I gave him 30.
Right.
I don't know what to make of it right now. Teague on DK is probably my favorite thing, but I have a hard time calling anything from Minnesota a favorite as of right now.
I think I like Napier a little bit more than Teague.
I gave Napier 22 minutes. I gave Teague 28. Again.
Why'd you give Napier 22?
I have no idea, man. And I don't mean that like I don't know how I landed on that. I just don't know what to do with this team if this rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
I don't know who gets minutes. Like, does Napier just suddenly stop getting a bunch of minutes in lieu of insert new person here, Jarrett Culver, whatever? Like,
right.
The last 2 games that Towns played, Napier played 14.5 minutes and 12.7. Now, obviously, that's not wildly important, Napier and Towns, but like with everybody back, I don't know who they start to shave off of this and who starts to take that hit.
Right.
I don't know how many minutes they're going to play alongside each other.
Right. I'm assuming that's just Gorge that Gorgie goes to the bench and then finally doesn't play.
Right.
But there's at least some chance that like Dang starts playing next to Towns. And then Napier or loses minutes or something like that from guys shifting up. But I think going something like 26 for Teague Napier makes sense.
Okay. Like I gave Teague 28. I have them playing 2 minutes alongside each other. That could just as easily be 4. I can give Napier 24 and take 2 minutes off of Keelan Martin or Josh Okogie,
right.
Keita Bates-Diop. I don't know which of these guys are going to still be out on the floor. It might be all of them plus more of them.
A lot of it probably has to do with who's playing better as well between Napier and Teague.
Who the hell knows what they do with Culver's minutes?
Right.
Like he was playing 15 minutes a game even at the beginning of Karl Anthony Towns sitting out. He played 28 in the last game. He's played 28 plus in his last 5. I just don't know where they're going to go with this.
Also, important thing that we didn't mention, revenge game for Shabazz Napier.
Wow, I forgot he was on Portland. I truly did. Been on quite a few teams, huh?
Yeah. I think he's been on what, like 5 and 6 years or something.
What is it? Obviously Portland, Nets, Minnesota,
Miami.
Miami. Yeah, I think that might be it. He was the future for LeBron of Miami.
Yeah.
Feels like a lifetime ago. That's a different
Miami,
NBA.
Orlando, Portland, Brooklyn, Minnesota.
Orlando.
2015-16.
Bet they'd be happy to have him back. And just kind of like different DJ Augustine, I guess.
Yeah.
Good luck figuring out Minnesota then, guys. I wish I could be more helpful here, but I mean, this is a team that is going to be really difficult to decipher. They played 11 guys on Tuesday. Now we'll potentially have Towns back. Travion Graham is a healthy scratch at this point. So there are countless bodies available. Best of luck there. On the Portland side, there's something oddly satisfying about rostering Portland guys in DFS because they don't really mess around all that much. Whiteside, Lillard, McCollum, Melo are just going to be in for big minutes. They don't run like super weird rotations or anything like that. This is a pace-up spot for Portland. I am more than happy having solid amounts of all 4 of those guys. And I have no problem getting to Kent Bazemore as well. How do you feel about Portland?
Yeah, I'm not as excited about Bazemore, but outside of that, the main 4 from Portland, I think that on DraftKings they're all pretty appropriately priced. Like they're pretty expensive, but they're not overpriced, I don't think, considering how many minutes they play. Lillard's 3rd in the league in minutes per game. McCollum's up there as well. They're playing 37, 38 in competitive games. Whiteside's playing 34 plus pretty much all the time now. Melo's playing huge minutes as well. So all 4 of those guys look good to me. After that, like Bazemore's 3,600. So if you get some, that's fine. But not a productive player whatsoever, and playing alongside, pretty much always playing alongside 2 high usage guys because, or one, depending on how the rotation goes. But normally he's not in with the second unit. So he's playing pretty much all of his minutes with Whiteside, Lillard, Melo on the floor, and then McCollum out there for some of it.
Kent Bazemore is currently the most owned Blazer on DraftKings.
That is absurd.
23%. CJ McCollum at 20. Whiteside and Lillard 13, 12. Melo at 9. Who is your favorite Blazer?
I think Dame at 8,900.
Okay. I've got it at CJ. Dame is second for me, but
what's Simon's owned on DraftKings?
9.
He's like the same as Bazemore to me.
Yes. I would rather have Simons than Bazemore given their ownership.
Yeah, I mean, Simons closed last game. Bazemore closes sometimes. But the point just being that if everyone's going to go to Bazemore's value, like Simons is a really good leverage play.
This does not strike me as a game where Kent Bazemore needs to close either.
No.
On FanDuel, Whiteside, Lillard, McCollum, and Melo all in the 20s in ownership. I would rank them CJ, Whiteside, Melo, Dame. But I am splitting hairs here. Whiteside, Lillard, and Melo are all the second-ranked players at their position. CJ is 3rd, so I'm going to have a lot of Portland on FanDuel tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Whiteside's price there in particular really stood out.
Yeah. Right now, Minnesota tops in my pace metric. Portland is 12th, so this is a really nice spot for them from a game speed perspective.
Sorry, not Whiteside, Lillard.
Yeah, 8,700 for Dame on FanDuel is pretty nice. And then we close it out. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets. Welcome back, Russell Westbrook. Welcome back, Chris Paul. Lots of narrative going on here. We'll start on the Oklahoma City side, where they are 2.5-point underdogs at home. They're going to be without Danilo Gallinari. We've got Chris Paul and Shea, both in the 30s in ownership on FanDuel. Adams, Paul, SGA, and Schroeder all in the 20s on DraftKings. Personally, Steven Adams stands out most to me at 6,900 on DK. or 7,100 on FanDuel. He is my number one center on FanDuel. How are you handling Oklahoma City?
I think their main four looks pretty good as well. I think there is some chance that Adams goes a little bit over-owned. He was really, really popular last slate, and I had a lot of him too. But one thing I noticed was that sites were projecting like 34 minutes for Adams because Noel was out, which I think was fine because he had played like 35 minutes the game before. I think it's worth noting that even though he played 35.7 minutes against Brooklyn, 5 of that was in overtime. So they were running Muscala in basically the same role that they normally run Nerlens Noel in. I'm not sure that 30 to 32 minutes of Adams is worth as much ownership as he's going to get if sites are projecting 34 minutes.
I have him in at 34 minutes right now. Which game was the over? No, never mind. Mondays? No. Tuesdays?
Brooklyn, yeah.
Tuesdays. Okay. Yeah, that's tricky.
Like for pretty much the entire season, we've been seeing, 30 minutes or less for Adams. Yeah. Then there was one game where he played a bunch, and it coincided with Noel being hurt. And I think everyone just decided that's the new norm, even though it probably isn't.
I'm going to walk him back to 32.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to go.
Because I think if this is a competitive game, they're going to need him against Capella.
Right.
Because Muscala can't handle that.
Yep.
So I think 32 is pretty reasonable. Yeah, he's 29% owned on DraftKings right now. Only 14 on FanDuel, where he's 7,100. I think that works. 14 is low enough. I'm certainly going to get to a bunch of SGA. He is 6,500 on FanDuel. I think that's the best option coming from Oklahoma City. But 39% ownership is right along with me. Do you have any interest in Baisley?
Nope.
Good answer. Rank the Thunder on DraftKings.
I think Adams, CP3, Schroeder, SGA for me.
Okay. On FanDuel, I'm going to go SGA, Adams, Paul, Schroeder. But I am going to have these guys quite a bit. Adams, Schroeder, and SGA all in my top 17 on DraftKings. Chris Paul comes in 31st, but not that I'm mad about it. And then we move to Houston. James Harden, 11-2 on FanDuel, 12-2 on DK, 21-4 on Fantasy Draft, $59 on Yahoo. I mean, it's a 4-game slate, so you're obviously getting to James Harden, but this is a very different day than it was yesterday.
Yeah, agreed. Obviously, less appealing matchup, but also Westbrook being back just makes such a big difference. The ceiling is still there for Harden. No doubt about it. He still plays big minutes. He's still the focal point of the offense. But you're losing, rates across the board whenever you're playing alongside Westbrook, and then also you just don't have the same quality of value today that you had yesterday. At least as of right now, we don't have a Bobby Portis or a Jeremy Grant or what we thought we had in Michael Porter. So people paying 12-2 for James Harden are going to have very, very similar roster construction. And the mid-range today is pretty strong, being able to get to guys, or I guess, upper mid-range guys like Drummond and Whiteside and Lillard, having the OKC guys at, 6 and 7K price tags. So I think that unless, some good value opens up, not guys like Svi and Bazemore and Baisley, I probably won't get to much Harden here and just hope he doesn't break the slate. I'd rather just get to like an $8,400 Westbrook and then all these other guys we talked about.
I don't expect these numbers to stay where they are, but it is telling. Russell Westbrook projected ownership on DraftKings 24%. James Harden 1.
At that point, it gets interesting because you're still.
It also won't be score. 1. There's just it'll be 5 at the minimum.
Yeah, because you're talking about the highest score on the slate. It's just
he'll be higher than 1, but it's not like it's going to be high or anything like that. But it is a telling number to see how low it is. But that's 12-2 for you. He grades out really poorly for me, all things considered, just because there's so little value out there. The concessions that you have to make might not be worth it as of right now. That could change by the time we get closer to lock, and probably will change. So yeah, I'm with you. Russ looks pretty good. Mid-20s in ownership across both sites. Happy to get him here. I would imagine this is the type of narrative where I think Russ would want this one a little bit more than usual. He's just that kind of guy. I'm not touching his projection in any way. It doesn't, purely just from a speaking point.
Right.
I would expect Russell Westbrook to care more about this game than he does the average game.
Right. My numbers for Westbrook at 8,400 look really good. The fact that he's playing Oklahoma City makes me very happy that those numbers look good without me adjusting.
Yeah. If I run a crunch and I get double the field, I won't have any tiebreakers making me want to walk that back at all.
Right.
Clint Capella, 7,700 on FanDuel, 7,500 on DK. Roughly 20% owned. $33 on Yahoo might be his best price. How do you feel about him in the back-to-back?
I think he looks pretty good. I have him on DraftKings behind Drummond, behind Adams by a little bit, comparable, including salary to Whiteside.
I have him behind Whiteside and Adams on FanDuel, but I also only have, in my opinion, 4 legitimate center options. So, they're all going to get 20 to 30% ownership one way or the other. Daniel House, PJ Tucker. I know you are a gigantic PJ Tucker fan.
Yeah,
had a big one yesterday.
Yeah, he just needs the ball to bounce to him 17 times, and he's gonna have a big game.
Exactly. What about your boy Eric Gordon?
No, not with Westbrook back.
Yeah, I don't have much interest here. I have Daniel House slightly ahead of PJ Tucker on both sites. Not that I'm wildly enamored in either guy, but that's just sort of the state of the slate. Favorite play in this entire game for you?
Westbrook.
Oh. Man, that one's close. I think it's Adams for me, but it is really close. That's it. 4 games, guys. It's a light work for today. At least we get to watch a decent Sixers and Celtics game and potentially a decent Thunder Rockets game. I won't be watching that. The hope is that I will be asleep before that thing tips off. But
man, value is just like non-existent right now.
It's gone. There is none.
I just sorted my I sorted DraftKings by value, and it's like the really good high-end plays are up there, and then there's just no like cheap guys.
Yeah. It's Svi and Tice and Anthony Simons, and like not a lot of that sounds appealing, but that's how you get Svi to 32% owned.
Yep.
All right, sum it up. Favorite plays on DraftKings?
Drummond, Rose, Lillard, Westbrook, Adams, Paul.
Okay. FanDuel, point guard, going to be Ben Simmons and Damian Lillard for me. Shooting guard seems to be the deepest. It's going to be Jay Rich, SGA, McCollum, and if you have the money, James Harden, obviously not a problem. Small forward is Gordon Hayward, Carmelo Anthony. Power forward, Kevin Love, and I don't know, $4,400 Christian Wood. Maybe just ask if you can play a different position a third time because it's not great. And then at center, I like 4 guys and 4 guys only in order: Adams, Whiteside, Capella, Drummond. You could pretty much randomize that, and I think you're going to be fine. Josh, you killed me with Lowry last night. We'll still listen to you every day. Yeah, Lowry killed me with Lowry last night. And if I knew before the game that he was going to play 43 minutes, I would have been on him even more. Didn't think it was going to be Terrence Davis night. I think that was a safe bet to skip that one, but who the hell knew? Yeah. Adam, anything else?
No, I'll be back at 5 with Lofty.
All righty. Well, hit the like button as we finish this up. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Go subscribe to our Twitch channel. That I highly recommend you doing. We may or may not be doing something very interesting on Twitch tomorrow, and you're going to need to be there in order to participate. And there's a lot of value in it, potentially, for what we're doing. So please go subscribe and follow on Twitch. Use the promo code 2020 to get 20 days of Awesemo Plus for just $20, or use the promo code New Year to get 20% off your first year of Awesemo Plus. That is a $200 savings. So if you're looking to get yourself in for the long term, that is the way to do it. Tune in to everything else we have coming up, whether that's Jake's NHL strategy show, Alex's live stream behind the paywall, the deeper dive, live before lock. We've got a ton coming up, so stay tuned. Best of luck today, guys. We will talk to you later.